The case study of Vanitas is turning out to be one of my favorite shows of the summer 2021 anime season. I'm kind of kicking myself because I swore that I made a video covering episodes 3 to 5, but apparently I didn't. So here's my thoughts on episode 3 to 8, as I've pretty much gotten caught up at this point and feel bad, really bad about not keeping up on this show, because every single episode I'm trying to figure out what it is about this show that really grabs me. And I think it's like a culmination of things, but this is my thoughts on episode 3 through 8, so let's jump into it. So yeah, basic rundown of what happened so far. Obviously, we had Vanitas using Luca as a hostage in order to basically beat John. It's one of those kicks that I get out of this show, and how weird Vanitas is. He basically, in using this hostage, gets very forward with Jean. Apparently, he just really does like her strength and everything. He gets into like huge detail about exactly what he likes about Jean, but just love how easily he just throws her off and uses his kind of charms to, I guess, tap into her feminine side. But yeah, a very broken and thrown off Jean is, yeah, I love it. It was great. But yeah, kind of following this entire situation, we find out that Noe is considered the archivist. His ability is that whenever he drinks somebody's blood, he's able to see into their memories. So they utilize this in order to look into Milia Ruth's memories to find out who was this person that actually corrupted her name, which we'll kind of find out his name is Nainia. And apparently this is like this parade of charlatan. And this parade apparently travels around, finds vampires, and then corrupts their names. And so this is supposedly at this point the major threat of this show. Very interesting. Again, I've always been fascinated by the concept of the true name of vampires, and then taking this and creating a formula out of it that can be corrupted is really fascinating. And this gets into more detail as Domi was excellent. I love Domi to death. She is way beautiful. Great character. I love her character so far. But she shows up, takes Noe to the apparently the shadow or the other side of Paris, which is the Atlas Paris, which is again behind the barrier where the vampires reside. Takes him back to there, and Vanitas decides to jump a ride over to there. He leaps to the barrier, and they have to catch him in order to prevent him from basically dying. But they get there, they go to a ball, and yeah, things kind of get crazy at this point because Vanitas decides to tell everybody about the fact that he is Vanitas and he's going to save all the vampires, and obviously this agitates the crap out of everybody, and that's when we start having a whole bunch of curse bearers show up. Everybody's going crazy. Obviously later on they blame him for this, thinking that him showing up and then bam, there's curse bearers. Obviously he caused it. But no, it's that Nania again, along with a lot of the other charlatans, and they're all basically causing chaos. It doesn't imply that everybody was curse bearers. It seems as if they created a few curse bearers in this ball of vampires, and the shrieks of them caused the others to go crazy. At some point, Vanitas ends up bumping into Jean, who is seemingly a curse bearer. She's losing her control of herself. She's craving blood, and he takes her off to the roof. Again, really starts throwing her off, and at some point presents her, take my blood. If you need somebody's, take mine. And she does. She partakes in his blood. This is when something really crazy happens. We have essentially Noe on this other side of the ball. He is confronted by the Nania, and the Nania starts to try to ask him for his true name, starts diving into his mind, and that's when we get a huge flashback to Noe as a child. And Noe is with this Luis de Sade as well as Domi de Sade. They were all friends together. This teacher of Noe took him to live with them, and so they spent a lot of time together. Luis was always kind of, very distant, very different, and at some point, Noe starts noticing that Luis is, like, carving steaks over and over again. He says he's crafting him something, but he's just making steak after steak. Starts talking about, curse bearers and different people, how they handled curse bearers, stuff like that. And eventually they come to find out that one of their childhood friends is a curse bearer, and they're going to execute that curse bearer. And so Noe, along with everybody else, is trying to hide this friend away. They go to this church, this remote church. They're all there with this kid that is apparently a curse bearer. And eventually that person starts attacking everybody, and Luis shows up and kills him. And then not only that, but goes crazy himself. And that's when Noe's teacher shows up and saves Noe's life by killing Luis. This was a very dark episode. It was crazy because the episode opens up with a content warning. I'm usually like, yeah, how bad could it be? Yeah, it was definitely dark. It definitely, I guess it's just really kind of it's a brutal violence than anything else. Very shocking violence. So yeah, I wasn't really expecting, I was expecting Luis to be like a crucial part of the story. And Luis could still be. I mean, Nania could be Luis. We know. Just probably a reincarnation or something. They reserved his body. But I expected Luis to be like a crucial part of the story. Just like this gone head is like, whoa, okay. I didn't think that character was being on like that. But yeah, that was pretty brutal. The crap that Noe went through. And it seems like Nania, I guess, is apparently pretty close to getting Noe's name through this entire flashback and everything. And at some point, yeah, Vanitas shows up, saves him. John is powered up. She shows up and protects him. And then they all flee because apparently Veronica is showing up. the Queen's was it the Queen's Fangs, apparently is what she's called? Yeah. Veronica shows up. She's the Queen's Fangs. And of course she immediately thinks it's Vanitas and starts going after them. And that's when Ruthven shows up and basically saves them all. And Ruthven's kind of like, you're going to have to explain what's happened, but, chill out, Veronica. You don't need to be showing your power like this. Yeah, I did forget to mention, like, just prior to this, they did technically go and search the entire castle just before Veronica showed up. And they ended up finding this Catherine girl who they'd met just prior. And she turns out to, in the entirety of the ball, apparently she is the only one that, as a curse bearer, she went too far. And that's kind of the weird thing. It's always kind of implied that the curse bearers can be cured through the use of the Vanitas' book. And this is the first case where we technically they couldn't. There's apparently a too far point. And so I think he said something to like when their skin or something changes, that's when it's gone too far. So his way of curing her at this point was just to take her out, turn her to ashes. But yeah, apparently Luca kind of explains all this situation to Ruthven. They go to visit Ruthven, and Ruthven at this point is kind of like, well, let's talk for a bit. Let's figure out what is that you're doing, what is it that you want, all that kind of stuff. And Vanitas kind of kills the conversation right at this point by revealing, I just want to see your queen. Let me go see your queen. And they're like, well, wait, why do you need to see the queen? He's like, I believe she is I think he said like something like the root of the curse bearers, that she is the cause of it. And this throws Ruthven in like a super rage, and he just basically knocks everybody out and tells Vanitas to get out of there. Really angers him, which of course he reveals right after this that all Vanitas was after in that whole situation. He didn't want to see anybody. Vanitas was there to get a reaction, and he got that reaction. He got a reaction out of Luca in that he basically acknowledged what he was saying. This queen has something to do with the curse bearers. And they kind of show a quick shot of Luca with the queen later, and her skin's like pure black. It's like she's crippled up or something like that. So we'll see what comes of that later on. I also forgot to mention, just before this, we had a scene with Jean, Luca, Domi, Noe, and Vanitas all together at a diner table, and what was it they brought it up? Something like, what was his interest in John? And he's like, I just love her. And she's like, this is ridiculous. And he's like, you love me too because you gave me your mark. Apparently a vampire, if they suck somebody's blood, can leave a mark upon them that's like their prey. And apparently John, sucking his blood, left a mark. They got like a run into later on where he's pretty much confessing that he likes her, but he doesn't really technically care that she doesn't like him. But this is where we kind of get questioned on, what's going on with Jean. Because prior to this, he did ask her, are you a curse bearer? And she didn't seem like she answered it. So he asked her again, are you a curse bearer? And she says, no, I've always had these moments where I have a craving for blood. The medicine usually helps it, but apparently that time it didn't help. And she's afraid of Luca knowing about it. And his response is, I'll keep it a secret. It's fine. But two conditions. One, that you only drink my blood. And two, that you call me by my name, Vanitas, rather than human. which I guess she technically accepts it because she drinks his blood. So I don't know. It's just their relationship's just really weird. And that's technically everybody. That's like Noe and Domi. And Domi obviously really loves Noe, but Noe doesn't know what love is. It seems like Noe only drinks Domi's blood most of the time because if he drinks anybody else's blood, he sees memories and this affects him. Obviously, drinking Domi's blood, he sees the memory of their childhood together, so it's nothing new. Yeah, it seems like going on beyond this into, I think it was episode 7 and 8, we start getting into, I guess, our next thing that we're going to be going after, which is apparently some curse bearers are disappearing, and they seem to be taken into a catacombs, and the catacombs, there's apparently the chasseurs there, and not only the chasseurs, but apparently a secret layer of chasseurs, which are not chasseurs. I think he said something like they're chasseurs, but they're not really chasseurs. They're like, I guess, something that's behind the scenes, because there's always this threat of a war breaking out again. So apparently, I'm guessing the way they're implying that is that there is a group of chasseurs that are in secrecy. They're doing more radical things that would normally cause the war in secrecy. But as they are checking out these catacombs, apparently it seems that Vanitas is familiar with these catacombs, the secret catacombs, so it seems like he's been there before. He has a lot of... It seems like the moment that he's seen their emblem, he was awe-stricken. Like, there was something about the emblem that he knows. And so, obviously, him knowing exactly where to go into these catacombs, he's been there before, so he may have some kind of tie-in with the chasseurs. But, yeah, they end up running into a paladin that obviously knows who they are and starts attacking them. So we'll see what that comes from that point. He has Vanitas locked up, and he's seemingly going after Noe because he knows that Noe is a vampire and he's going to kill him. So, yeah, just good stuff overall. Like I said, I think I just love pretty much the setting, visuals, everything in the backgrounds was looking good. There was a couple slip-up points of action scenes in this particular series of episodes, but nothing that made it ruin the show. It still looks really incredible. I love all the interactions with Vanitas and Jean. Love a lot of the character and history that Noe and Domi have. The backstory stuff was super dark. I was expecting with this last episode they were going to get into Vanitas with the whole thing with him seeing the gem. So I'm guessing here in the next few episodes we possibly might see Vanitas' history. Veronica and Ruthin were pretty crazy. They did technically get into Luca and the fact that he's technically second in line, I guess, in second in power to the queen. So Luca's pretty... It goes the question, why was Luca just strolling around in the human world if he's supposedly supposed to be second in line for the throne? But anime for you. Typically people in those positions aren't allowed to just walk around. A lot of stuff around the charlatan stuff is pretty crazy. I really especially liked how they portrayed the scene with Noe going into the memories of Ruth, and how he himself, because apparently the reason why he hates sucking blood is, again, he sees people's memories, and not only that, but he feels everything they feel. So, like, the terror that she felt at that time when this Nania showed up and started trying to draw her name, it was almost as if he himself was losing his name. And the way, like I said, how they portray that and how it kind of equally happens again when he runs into Nania, it's like I said, the way they portray that stuff is really, really good. I think just the way that they set the tone, music, visual effects, and everything, I think every scene that they're doing with the show is really knocking out of the park. The comedy beats are funny. The character interactions are always great. Like I said, Vanitas just reminds me so much of Yato from Noragami. It just makes me want to watch Noragami again. But it's all working out really good, and I'm really looking forward to more. It's just everything in this show just seems to hit the mark. So hopefully I can keep up on the show going forward. I think all my other stuff is caught up. So hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment. Let me know what you thought of these last 5 episodes. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. And y'all take care.